What's up, everybody, and welcome to the FPL WildCats Live. Thank you so much for joining us this Thursday evening. We have a great guest here, but before we get on to all the proceedings, please do make sure to hit that like button. There's 27 of you already watching, so please hit that like button. And subscribe if you are new to the channel. It really does help us out, and it is free. And Nim, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Jay, and welcome everyone to the stream. Welcome to our guest, General G from YouTube channel, Glen Kightley, Everything Arsenal. How are you, Glenn?
I'm good. 2 good weeks. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with you
Yeah,
guys.
no, thanks for coming on, buddy. There's been some mixed scores this week, from the sublime scores, as I'm sure you'll pretty much see now with Glenn, to the absolute ridiculous, which you'd also see with me. So let's take a look at how we all got on in game week 3. And as our guest, Glenn, would you like to start us off by talking us through how you got on in game week 3, please, buddy?
Yeah, sure. First of all, in goal, I've never had luck in goal. Like the last 4 seasons when I've played FPL, I never have any luck with goalkeepers, and McCarthy has kept that going. 2 games, no returns. I was expecting at least 10 points for the 2 games, but hey, he might leave my team on the wildcard maybe in a couple of weeks' time. And then for my defense, Van Dijk always returns. That fee, like above 6.5 million, you can only like expect like returns every single week. And then in midfield, I'd say Aubameyang a bit disappointing, because I actually captained Aubameyang just because of peer pressure. I was supposed to captain Son, but in the first week I messed up because I captained Mane and I didn't have Salah. So I didn't want to drop further back by not captaining Aubameyang, and then he scores big. And then I captained Son and he blanks again. So that was kind of a downer, but Son, 4 goals. I'll not complain about that. In terms of striking, I was a bit lucky. I brought on Mitrovic for IU. And the only reason I brought on Mitrovic was because I couldn't afford Calvert-Lewin. So I was really quite lucky. But Calvert-Lewin himself scored bigger. So yeah. I think I wouldn't complain. Any other
still
player?
Worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out well. But the red cards, though, Bissouma got a red card. He was on my bench, but the FPL gods said I'm not going to escape this one. Go on, John Egan. You also get a red card for a foul that's not even supposed to be a foul. So my team, I got above 80 points, but going to the future, it's not looking good. 2 red cards, 2 injuries, Douglas who doesn't play. So I'm not going to use the wildcard, but the team is not strong enough. So I think that's how I did. Willian also a bit disappointing. I was also supposed to take him out for James Rodriguez, but I think it worked out good. So I won't complain.
Are you going to be taking any hits or anything this week to, patch up some of the reds and things?
The thing with hits, I'm not a fan of hits. I've played FPL for 5 years, and I think I've only taken like 2 hits.
Wow.
I only use it because unless I really need to use it, unless I have a lot of injuries and I can't field 11 players, that's when I'm going to use it. But just because I want to take out Willian to bring in a City asset, I won't take a hit. So
how have you done overall, like in those years? What's been your highest finish, not taking those hits and things?
2 seasons ago, 40k. And,
nice.
3 seasons ago, 50k. So I'm hoping to
nice.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Well done, buddy. Well done. Well, that's really interesting. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. We'll go on to some questions and stuff later. But Jay, would you like to talk us through how you got on?
I mean, not really, because it was a bit... It wasn't bad.
Don't even come at me if you're going to say you had a bad game week right
No, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like... I had much higher hopes after a very good game week 1. I can't complain with 50 points overall, so I suppose I should cheer up a little bit. But it's just, the main reason I'm a bit disappointed is because I had 2 plans initially. The first plan was to take out Salah for Bruno Fernandes, which would have meant I still had Son, and that would have literally turned my game week around. And then my next plan was to hold the transfers and then have like a mini wildcard with 2 held transfers in game week 3, which again would have meant I had Son. But
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, I didn't have Son. But it's kind of like the peer pressure of knowing everyone was going to have a Man United asset.
Yeah.
I literally just Friday night went, no, I need one Man United player. Brought in Fernandes, and then they have that really disappointing game against Palace. I'm not saying that I'm completely knee-jerking and thinking Man United aren't worth the risk at all, but it's just disappointing that I'd made the move earlier than I was planning on doing it, just because I knew everyone else was. And I even considered at one point bringing in Kevin De Bruyne instead, because I just prefer Man City options to Man United options, because I think Man City are still like head and shoulders one of the best teams to invest in FPL, because the amount of goals they score, the goal threat they have. And yeah, I just feel like I should have gone with my gut, but 50 points, not too bad. Overall rank now at about 750k. I did think of not going with Aubameyang start the season because I worried about him only getting one return. And I think I got lucky in the Fulham game. But I think in the game against West Ham were definitely a lot better than I think people thought they'd be. But yeah, I have nothing to complain about. But I have hit the wild card just because I'm not happy with the side overall.
Are any Man United players on your wildcard team at the moment? No. Okay.
So on my wildcard team, I have, although it wasn't on my video, so you're getting an update, people. This is my current wildcard team, but it'll probably change again.
Breaking news, people. Breaking news.
So I've got Seiss and Alexander-Arnold in defence, Martinez in goal, then cheap defenders. I've gone with Dunn from Burnley because I just have a feeling Tarkowski might be on his way out, which could mean Dunn slots into that defence. They could buy someone. It's just a bit of a punt. If I get lucky and have a 4 million defender, then great.
I mean, now that I've sold all Burnley and have washed them from my lives, I'm sure they'll be fine.
There we go. Perfect timing. Still got Salah, got De Bruyne, Foden, just because Man City looks so good, but I'm a bit worried about Foden starting tonight. Podence has come in, and then up front, Calvert-Lewin and Werner are staying. I still have high hopes of Werner, and it's West Brom next. I might even captain him. I know most people are looking at De Bruyne, but I'm just thinking West Brom's defence looked poor in both games. And then Martial coming in for the Brighton game, because I think pace is going to hurt Brighton, and Man United have plenty of that in attack. So hopefully that is my team, but you know what? I'll probably have a tinker tomorrow. So apologies if that isn't my side.
I mean, I see this. Dream Team stream earlier. He's all on go with Greenwood, and he's going with Martial himself. I see you, Jane.
Yeah, I was picking players compared to the positions you were talking about. I already got in enough trouble on that stream. Let's not bring me any more
I'm
trouble.
looking forward to that too. Let's just get me over and done with, and we can end on slightly brighter note on Brett. So yeah, I had a shocking game week. I had my worst ever game week in FPL. Ever. And I am in mourning, hence, I am in my outfit tonight. I am in mourning for my game week points. I am in mourning for selling Son, and I'm in mourning for game week 2. It was pretty shocking. I am 4.7 million overall. So doing it for the 4 millions out there. Trent and Aubameyang were my only players to do anything at all out of my whole team, as you can probably see right now. McCarthy got 0 points. Lewis conceded 3 goals. So, yeah, got himself smacked in the face, although that wasn't really his fault. Yellow card, 0 points. Peters didn't start, came on 40 minutes, scored an own goal.
When I saw him come on, I was watching that game, I was like, oh, Nim's going to be thrilled.
Yeah.
Because it was a game that they looked like they could get something out of, and then that happened. I was like, oh.
Although I wasn't particularly thrilled because I had Mitchell first on the bench. So I was a bit like, can't you just stay there, Matt? Just stay there. Stay on the bench.
The new Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, exactly. I had Salah, St. Maximum, switched. Son to Bruno. So that was a big ouch. And I remember saying on the stream last week, I don't know why I'm selling Son ahead of Southampton. I've had double Southampton defence and they look terrible. What am I doing? And then I still did it anyway. Again, a bit like you, Jay. I don't want to say I got pressured into it, but I'm not going to lie, seeing everyone getting United players, that's one thing, I guess, that if, maybe Brett can talk us through in a minute, but like staying away from that bubble might help with. But for me, even if I wasn't in the bubble, I think I would have looked at transfers in and out and things like that, and have seen Bruno being bought in by so many people. And I thought that price rise was coming and it never came. So I just completely, got duped into that one. But I can't be completely annoyed with myself because it kind of was always the move that I was thinking of doing. It was either that or Che to Martial. So
I'd say if it was the move you were planning, then you shouldn't feel bad about it if that was your plan.
Yeah, I don't think I had planned to keep Son match past game week 1, but that was based on like his good fixtures to start and me not really having much confidence in Spurs. However, having seen them last week and them doing well again this evening, I'm now starting to revise that slightly on my wild card. But I had Soucek as well, who again looks promising but can't deliver anything. Werner and Adams. Basically, my whole front 7 players between them got 11 points. I mean, that's less than half of what Son scored by himself. So that pretty much sums it up.
Apart from that, a good game week.
Sorry. Yeah, I think you're pretty unlike with Adams. I've seen Adams the first 2 games. He's had so many opportunities. So him not returning is quite a shock. So
yeah, and that's why I feel like in some ways I've been slightly too reactive with my wild card already, because I do feel like I was quite unlucky with a few of the returns that I got on a better day. There's no way some of those players would have got the points that they got. So I think it was just one of those exceptional circumstances where, everything went quite badly. On the other hand, there were at least 6 or 7 players that I wasn't particularly, a bit like Jay, like when I looked at my team, I was a bit like, not sure. I don't want to stick on double Southampton. I'm not sure I want double Newcastle now. I'm not really a fan of Soucek anymore. And forwards is where all the money is at the moment and all the points are. So being 2 up front doesn't feel right at the moment. I need a shift, and I know I can take a -8 to fix this or a -4 to fix this, but I just kind of almost rather wildcard now and, try and put a more balanced team in place. And then if I have to hit further down the line, almost switch it around, if you see what I mean, then I will. But obviously trying not to stress myself out too much about it, just doing the best I can in the situation that I can at the moment, and almost trying just to, I guess, brush off how bad last game week was, because there's something about a wild card that gives you that kind of, okay, I'm starting again, scratch that, didn't work, start again sort of thing, and a nice new vibe. But Brett, how did you get on, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, it's just sort of bang average again, really. A bit similar to the first week. Nothing special, but also not a disaster. So after Saturday, it was looking pretty bleak, to be honest. I made a predetermined move, which was Danny Ings to Martial. And look, I do feel now, it's easy to say in hindsight, but I do feel that was a mistake. It's obvious, it's easy to say that because Ings got 2 goals and Martial blanked.
Yeah.
The only reason I say that's a mistake is because I think having a predetermined plan doesn't mean you should have to go through with it, because you need to react to what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
So if you've got something in like, you don't want to be locked into a plan for too long, because things change quickly in football. So I had the plan before the season started to get Martial for Ings, but after game week 1 and seeing how Spurs defended, and then looking at Ings' record against Spurs, I probably should have thought, you know what, United haven't even played in game week 1 yet. I'm sort of gambling on them starting well without even getting information on them. So why shouldn't I just wait 1 game week? Is it really going to be so disastrous if I just save the transfer and don't get a United player in? against a Palace side that had kept a clean sheet against Southampton the game week before, and Palace were a bogey team for United last season. They beat them at Old Trafford last season as well.
Yeah,
so with all that information, I only went through with the plan to bring in Martial because I planned to do it, and it was more because I wanted Martial rather than using data and information. It was more, and look, FPL is sometimes about getting the players that you want, and I wanted Martial. I bigged him up so much in pre-season, so there's no regrets there. I just think it's a lesson learned because I had no data on Man United. Why not wait one game? We can see how they play. And Ings went and scored 2 goals. Granted, one was a late consolation penalty, so that was a bit frustrating, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm still happy to have Martial, and United aren't going to be awful for long term, I don't think. I hope not anyway. So after Saturday, it was looking quite bleak, but then Leicester just saved me at home to Burnley. Justin got a goal. I thought James Justin was so attacking in that game. Like, he was in the penalty area so much. I was so impressed with Justin and Castagna as well. They both attacked really well.
Justin confuses me, though, because he's such a bad defender.
Yeah.
Like, he's a bit like KWP forward, for me. I'm a bit like that well.
Yeah, when I say I'm impressed with Justin, I mean from FPL terms. When I see my defender getting forward and getting in the box, I'm like, wow, I'm loving this, right? Granted, they have been suspect defensively. I mean, they shipped 2 at home to Burnley, which is never a great thing. But and Harvey Barnes, man, he paid off. Like, I'm so chuffed that I've got him now, because the first 2 games, honestly, he's looked their best player. Yeah, he's had like 5 shots in both games. He could have scored more in those openings.
Do you remember last season him absolutely trolling?
100%. I mean, this was a guy that gets all the underlying stats. He's quite erratic and gets a lot of shots, but hasn't got the end product. But he is still young. He's 21 now, and it looks like he's improving on that. And I brought in Barnes because Greenwood was blanking in game week 1. I thought I need a 7 million roughly priced midfielder. And Leicester had 4 good fixtures in 5. They've got Man City away now, which is annoying. But then they've got 2 home games, I think, Villa and West Ham. So, yeah, and Barnes has done more than enough to stay in my team. A 13-pointer from him. So Leicester got me 20 points. I went from 38 to 58. And all of a sudden,
nice.
it's a respectable week then, So it was a red arrow. I'm at 1.7 million now. So I'm still, a lot far where I'd like to be. But, considering I didn't have Son and Kane and Calvert-Lewin or any of those players, it's a respectable week, So I'm pretty happy with the squad. I've made 2 transfers already.
Oh yeah, what have you done already? If you don't mind sharing with.
So I've got rid of Aubameyang for De Bruyne.
Mm-hmm.
I had considered keeping Aubameyang despite the bad fixtures, because I think Aubameyang's done fine. He's done okay, but watching De Bruyne play against Wolves, I was like, nah, I'm not going without De Bruyne. The way he played on penalties again. The fixtures are better than Arsenal's. I just thought, look, just make the obvious move. If Aubameyang punishes away to Liverpool, away to Man City, away to United, if he punishes me, fair enough. It's the logical move, I think, with those 3 away trips. And then because St. Maximin was injured, and I don't think I've seen enough from him to warrant a place in my side, initially I was going to get Podence.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've said, I've been staying off Twitter this whole pre-season, all the season. And even then, Podence was the one I was going to bring in, Mm-hmm. So it just so happens that everyone else is moving towards him because he's looked fantastic. But I came to the same conclusion. However, with the price rises, and you get a bit of pressure with price rises, and with Foden starting in that game, I thought, well, I've got 6.5 million to spend here to replace St. Maximin. And I thought, do I want Podence or Foden for Man City? And so I brought in Foden now, and he's played in the Cup. He's a rotation risk, but over 5 game weeks, I'm hoping Foden will score more goals than Podence. So
well, we're not entirely sure that Podence isn't a rotation risk, are we, either?
That's true. With Semedo signing and a Dramos playing further forward potentially, then that could be a problem for Podence in future, or Neto, one of the 2. But yeah, I got Foden now, and look, if he gets benched in this game, he'll play the Leeds fixture and they're conceding goals. So I'm hoping Foden will come through.
Cool. And who do you have to come in if he doesn't play? I'm sure he will, but if he didn't play, have you got somebody decent on the bench?
Yes, at the moment it's Mitchell. It's Mitchell.
Yeah, have Mitchell.
Yeah.
Cool.
At home to Everton.
Are you worried about Ben Davies?
Of course, mate. Yeah, very worried about Ben Davies. He's been a poor purchase for sure. I looked at Spurs' defensive stats after lockdown, and they looked okay defensively, statistically. But yeah, Davies obviously with their new Reguilon signing from Real Madrid. All I'm hoping is Davies starts at Newcastle. That once that's done, I can bench him for United away in game week 4 and get like Seiss or something in for him in future, or maybe even Semedo at 5.5 or Martial when he's back from injury. One of the Wolves defense will come in for Davies probably. So yeah, definitely worried about Davies, but I'm just hoping it's Newcastle at home. So I just hope he plays because it's such a nice fixture on paper for a defender.
Yeah, true.
It'd be a shame to miss out on that fixture, but if not, again, Mitchell will come in. So,
Brett, just one more question before I move on to Kurt. Yeah. Are you concerned at all? Because myself and Jay are on a wildcard, so I guess Son is on both of our minds. Glenn owns him. We're about to find out about Kurt in a second. Is Son somebody in your thinking? Do you think missed the boat on the best of Sonny? What are your thoughts on him?
Well, he's not going to get 24 points every week, but I don't think I've missed the boat because they've got great fixtures.
I think there's more in him, yeah.
There's 3 home games in the next 5, like Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham, maybe. They've got great fixtures until game week 9, I think. And I always love Son as a player. He's got another goal and 2 assists tonight as well.
Yeah.
At the start of the season for me, it was literally I had my draft ready, and all I had to do was 9 million to spend. Martial at front and a 4.5 midfielder, or Son in midfield and a 4.5 striker.
Yeah.
And obviously, I should have gone for Son maybe, but I've gone for Martial as my 9 million option there.
Although, just be thankful you didn't go for Son and make the mistake that myself and Jay did, which was get lured into switching him straight to KDB. So,
exactly. You know. So I'm reluctantly going to have to go without Son now. I've got Salah, I've got De Bruyne in instead, and Martial up front. So yeah.
Worries. Okay then, thanks for that, buddy. Kurt, tell us about how your wild card got on, bud.
Well, you said before you introduced Brett, you'll go on to Brett, and it sounded as if you'd forgotten about me. So I was trying to keep silent and not say anything.
I was hoping it was going to get even better. Because I made some pretty bold and
stupid claims in the last few weeks that I think are going to end up biting me through the backside during the season.
Through the backside? Wow.
Yeah, not even on the backside, going straight through.
I was thinking Kurt was way too quiet when Nim said Brett, and then we'll go on to. And I was like,
no, I was thinking because he wildcarded, it must have gone, from Brett higher, and I was thinking let's go even higher with Kurt. That's what I was thinking.
The only positive is that I'm not the lowest scoring wildcat. I thought I would have been. Somehow Nim's got 12 points below me. 38 points looks half decent. No, it's just one of those weeks that it just goes against the grain. It's why I don't really. I like a little bet. I can't help myself but have a cheeky little accumulator during the season. But start of the season, never place anything more than a quid on a 10-team accumulator because nothing happens when you want it to. And goals and results go elsewhere. It's just one of those weeks where it's just whatever I did, I felt like I would have got wrong. If I'd have brought some Leicester players in, they'd have lost 2-0. It's just one of those weeks. Captained Willian because I thought against West Ham, he's going to have a field day, an absolute field day. And West Ham decided they wanted to play football for once. So they didn't do too bad. As well as that, I thought West Ham was shocking. Surely a clean sheet, a team that played dreadful against Newcastle, and I decided to score as well. So lost Gabriel, who came in.
Never trust Arsenal for clean sheets, man. Just don't.
Yeah, I know. I know. I was blinded. The only positive is that I brought in De Bruyne, and De Bruyne does what De Bruyne does, which is not a bad result and not a bad points total for him. 13. Just shame I couldn't stick the captain's armband on him. Apart from that, Justin got 7, and then it was just 2s, 3s, 1s, and a 0 for McCarthy. So in terms of this week, not too good, but the season long, I've got the right players in, and I know Man United are going to lose 3-1 to every team this season. Arsenal will get their results back. Salah will score again. That won't be his last 3 goals of the season. It's just one of those weeks at the end of the day.
I think you can't help him. You were very unlucky with Harrison because he was sort of tipped after game week 1 and Leeds scored 4 goals. All the midfielders got points and Jack Harrison didn't. I think that's just bad luck, mate.
Yeah, I had my normally I turn notifications on Bet365 because they come quicker than any other app. So I see a goal and I'm thinking Leeds, thinking, okay, excellent. The first one goes in, no Jack Harrison, thinking it's all right. There's a lot of time to go. And then the second one, third one comes in, and I'm thinking, no, it's not going to be my day. Fourth one comes in, thinking, surely now it's got to be Jack Harrison. And I think I just lobbed my phone at the wall after that. I lost my temper. But no, it's one of those weeks. I'm planning on wildcarding early anyway. This week it didn't go well, but the foundations are there for the rest of the season. I took a -4 as well to get Son in. Contrary to not taking points hits, I used to sort of be like that. I just don't care anymore. If someone's doing well, I'll bring them in. Because so many times... Sorry?
Who have you brought Son in for?
I got rid of... I think, actually... I got rid of Willian for Son, and I got rid of Jack Harrison for a bloke called Nampalys Mendy from Leicester. Because he played 2 90-minute games. So
you've got Fernandes, Salah, Son and De Bruyne in midfield?
Yeah, and Martial up top.
Wow, nice, mate.
Well, midfield is where the value is. There's 1 or 2 strikers at best that are going to be good for season-long. Defence, Liverpool look like they're just going to have a joke and not really defend much this season. Just be like, we've won the league.
I don't envy the captain pick out of those 4 every week. It's a great midfield, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the only thing, is that I've always wanted to just stick a captaincy on someone and then say, that's it. But I can't stick a captaincy on Salah, and he's got Arsenal at home, and thinking, Newcastle away for Son. You're thinking Leicester at home for De Bruyne. You're thinking Brighton away for Man United. It's just... Yeah, no, this is part of the fun of the game. I don't want to make things boring. I don't want to make things samey. I want to make things as challenging as possible. And me being an idiot with my wild card and -4s and captaincy is part of the season-long ambition.
That's why we love it.
Yeah.
Question, Kat.
Yep.
Are you planning to go without any Liverpool defenders for the long run?
Yeah. Although they didn't concede against Chelsea. The warning signs were there against Chelsea. Chelsea looked like they could be a good counter-attacking side, and then the red card has just ruined everything, really. But the way Liverpool defended
as well, we kind of got away with that one, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that would have been a goal conceded, and that would have been another clean sheet wiped out. And I just think, especially a short run, I think there's tough games, but for the season long run, I think the warning signs are there against Chelsea, and it's a relatively new attack. They decided to not even bother defending against Leeds, which is worrying if a championship side's going to your home of the champions and scoring 3. Whether it was Van Dijk making his 2 mistakes for the season, whether it's this, that, or the other, it just seems too risky. If there was a cheaper defender in there, there was a certain starter, I'd think maybe, but 7.5 million for Trent, who's not going to get a locked-in attack and return each week.
Aubameyang's going to wipe out our Liverpool clean sheets this week anyway.
Yes,
Arsenal have got a quick
he's going to
counter-attacking
punish
side,
everyone.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal get a result there personally. The way Liverpool are playing.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
The 3 Arsenal fans here, and we're all hoping. Cool. Okay, then let's move on to our questions from social media. Please do get your questions in the chat. Don't worry about repeating them. Brett is noting them down, so we've got the questions. So keep them coming in, and we will do a quick fire round towards the end as well. But a kick off first with @RichMaple3Lions, who asks, which one of Rashford, Greenwood, Rodriguez or Barnes would you go for? He's on his wild card. He says it's such a tough decision. So Jay, you got preference out of Rashford, Greenwood, Rodriguez or Barnes?
That's difficult with only 2 game weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Man United didn't show much against Palace, but that's not to say there wouldn't be much there. Was it Rashford and
Greenwood, Rodriguez and Barnes?
See, I prefer Martial and Fernandes personally. Still, those would be my preferred options. Rodriguez, he has done amazing, but I'd say the 2 games he's had, I think Crystal Palace would be a much better test to see what Rodriguez can do, because I think Palace's midfield will try and cut Rodriguez out, and Palace's defence is it's better than West Brom's, and it's better than the Tottenham that they played. And as for Barnes, I still worry about his composure. So, out of all those players, I've picked none of them.
Okay, interesting.
So, I can't really pick one when I really don't have enough faith to pick any of them myself.
Fair enough. And Kurt, what about
So
yourself?
it's Rashford, Greenwood, Rodriguez, and Barnes.
Yeah, they're the ones.
Just picking one out of them, or
Yeah. He's on his wild card, so I assume he can only afford one of them.
well, long run, I think. Bearing in mind, Rodriguez didn't get any returns against Spurs. It was just the one game against West Brom, a West Brom team that conceded 5 against Everton and had a red card with Kieran Gibbs. And also West Brom lost 3-0 against Leicester, again, another decent team. So it showed that they're pretty leaky at the back. But for the future, I think it's not a bad shout having Rodriguez in, because he is a creative player. And granted, teams like Palace will probably set up 4-4, one player literally just to sit on Rodriguez and say, no, you're not doing anything today. I'm just going to make your life hell. And then Wilfried Zaha up top, just give the ball to Zaha and hope he does something good with it, like Man United. But for the long run, I think he could be good. And I guess especially against teams that give him space, he could be good. Rashford and Greenwood, I think Man United will come good. They'll come good. I mean, they've got a good run of fixtures coming up. You know, I've got some tough teams. They've got some top 6 teams, but Tottenham, Chelsea and Arsenal all at home. And I'm potentially even going a third Man United midfielder in the future. So watch this space.
And to be fair, Man United often turn up against the big teams as well, because they have that counter-attacking ability. And of course,
the pace on Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, even Dan James coming off the bench assists for Fernandes. I just think, especially, it's similar to Arsenal, similar to Chelsea, the way they're going. All teams at the moment, they're just looking to get quick on the counter. I think Man United have got one of the quickest out there. And then with Barnes, if Leicester can keep it up, yes, but whether it matters too much, I always look at the if you've got a good attacking team, you've got at least one defender in there that's solid. Where Liverpool have Van Dijk that can do everything, I think Leicester quite often, like they did with Kante, would rely on Ndidi. Now he's gone, I worry without that anchor to sort of win the ball, turn over the possession, start a counter-attack, are they going to become a bit more of a one-dimensional team? So for the moment, I'd say I'd go with the United pit players, but I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. I went Man United this week and got it wrong, so don't listen to me.
Glenn, what's your thoughts, bud?
Barnes, Rashford, Rodriguez, and who was the fourth one?
Greenwood.
I'm never a fan of Greenwood. Last season, I did own him, yes, and he did score a bunch of goals. But for this season, I think it's too much of a rotation risk for me. Yes, he'll score their goals, but I usually prefer Martial and Fernandes as United picks, other than Rashford maybe. For Rashford, for him too, I also don't trust him. If it's Manu, I'd go for Martial and Fernandes, one of them. For Rodriguez are those kind of players who will look good, but won't give you a double figure hold like the way we want. Like when you get the likes of Salah, Aubameyang, you're expecting 20 points every week. So I don't think you'll get that from Rodriguez. But I'm really concerned not having United and Everton players, to be fair. If I was to play a wild card after the transfer closes, I'd probably get Rodriguez and Calvert-Lewin, depending on their fixtures. I'd probably go for Barnes. I know Brett would be happy with that. I know he has him in his team. So for Barnes, game week 4 and 5, they have Aston Villa at home and West Ham at home. And I think he'll get about 20 points in those games. Like at home, Leicester also, as Kat has mentioned, Ndidi is now injured. So I'm kind of expecting them to attack more because they'll concede some goals. So I'm expecting them to depend on their attack. And now with Vardy back, I'm expecting Barnes to be the one. So I'd go with Barnes for now.
Yeah, is that the same for you, Brett?
So is he on the card at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah, it's obviously I've got Barnes, and it's only because it's Man City away that if I'm picking a wild card, it's very hard to look beyond the week that you're on. I know that you need to, but to select Barnes away to City on a wild card would be difficult. But if you can get beyond that, then yes, the home games in 4 and 5 against West Ham and Villa do look nice. And I'm just impressed with his performances in general. And the one worry that I had before picking Barnes was that he was a rotation risk, like him and Perez and Demarai Gray and those kind of players. Sometimes he gets subbed early because he's played so well in the first 2 games. I'm sort of there's no way he's getting dropped now. He's the best player at the moment. So I'm happy about that. I just feel like Rodriguez is the sensible choice at the moment, though. I do feel like he's the sensible no-brainer, just because they're the informed team. They've got good fixtures as well. There's no chance of him rotating. Could he be on penalties for Everton as well? They are away to Palace this week, and Palace have done pretty well actually so far. So it's not an easy fixture, but they've got decent fixtures longer term. I think Brighton at home in the following game. It's between those two really, Barnes and Rodriguez. I think I would probably go Rodriguez, but maybe that's just because I've got Barnes. I can't imagine him doing so good. I hope he does. But that's just like the sort of pessimist in me. But either of those are good. I personally do like Greenwood, but until he starts getting into form, I think.
He did well last night. So I think he got a goal in the couple of minutes that they came on.
Pretty well taken goal, actually. Yeah.
I think Greenwood, just to make things really annoying for you, Rich. Sorry, I'd probably go for Greenwood
Merge
myself.
Greenwood with Barnes. Get Barnes with Greenwood's finishing. Perfect player.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you can figure out how to do that, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so RP, one of our regulars, our View, asks a couple of questions, as always. First of all, who are our enablers? So, Kurt, who's your enablers?
What's an enabler?
So somebody who's cheap enough to enable other players in your team.
You can tell I don't do much content, can't you? Not a clue what that was. Well, it's in terms of enablers, mine's just my defence at the moment.
Okay.
I've got Luca Digne in there at 6 million. Everyone else is and Gabriel at 5 million. But normally I've got Rhian Brewster there in case he leaves. I've got a 4.5 million midfielder. Just go cheap in the defence and goalkeeper, and then that's the money to get the attackers in. I don't really have a sort of specific player.
Harrison is your enabler at the moment.
Well, was he?
He's gone. Nampalys Mendy's is now gone.
He bought Mendy now.
I thought Son's more likely to get playing time, and also I feel like with the introduction of Bale, once Bale comes in, I think that will help Spurs as a whole.
Gareth, love your boy.
I don't really. I normally my transfers. Normally my transfers most weeks in most FPL seasons are just swapping out the cheaper players. So let's say if I've got cheaper defence, quite often if let's say Leeds, let's say next 3 games add City, Liverpool, Arsenal, I'd be thinking I'll bog off Luke Ayling, I'll get someone else in for a few weeks and get you back in when I can. Because quite often, it doesn't matter who the bigger teams are playing against, so your De Bruyne, Fernandes, Salah, they're going to perform well in, no matter what the game is, but the weaker teams have to swap them out. So I just go cheap in the defence. I don't really have a specific player.
Cool. Okay. So for me, my enabler, if I, stick with them at the moment on the wild card, would be, I'm kind of deciding between Podence or Costa. They're kind of my 2 kind of midfield enablers at the minute. But I also was looking at, and I'm going to have to look up his name because I have, no, the 4.5
Burke.
midfield option.
Yeah, Oliver Burke maybe.
Oliver
Sheffield
Burke
United.
is what I'm thinking.
No, it's not Burke actually.
Basuma. But he's suspended.
Anguissa.
Okay.
From Fulham.
Yeah.
So
how much is he? 4.5 or 5?
Yeah,
he's
4.5. Yeah. He's been in a couple of my drafts now. He only played 27 minutes in the first match, so I don't know how nailed he is, but he played 90 in the last and got an assist. So, 4.5.
He's also got the most key passes for a 4.5 bid as well.
Oh, interesting. Cheers. Thanks for that.
And the
buddy.
highest expected assists at 0.53.
Oh, okay. Shh, don't tell everybody about this.
Sorry.
I probably shouldn't have brought him up, really, should I?
Aston Villa at home next as well.
My only reason I'm not looking at him is because he plays for Fulham, but his numbers are there.
Yeah, I mean, for 4.5, I was thinking, playing 4.5 who's already had an attack and return. If I want an enabler to, have a 5th midfielder, that's really cheap, then he could be a potential option for me. So he's my enabler. So Glenn, what about you? Who'd you say your enabler is in your team?
The best Egyptian in the league, Mohamed El Neni. Nah.
Yeah.
I'd go. I think I'd go the cut route. I'd go with cheaper defenders. I don't feel like last season we had Nketiah and Greenwood as enablers in striking, but this season all of them are pretty expensive. I usually don't like owning players that are not playing completely. So I'm actually thinking about going with no Liverpool or City defenders and just going with 4.5 defenders. So Mitchell, of course, from Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Lamptey from Brighton. I'm actually watching him against Newcastle, the way he's attacking, like that's one of them.
Unreal.
And maybe one defender from Leeds, but I'm not really keen on their defense. But yeah, I'd go the way of owning cheap defenders, maybe 5.0 defender and then 4.5. So cheaper defenders.
Yeah, cool. And Brett, what about yourself?
Yeah, obviously he is 5.5 or 5.6 now, but you mentioning him, Podence for me is the no-brainer at that price. You know, I know Costa did well for Leeds in the previous game, but it was against Fulham. Just looking at longer term, like the next 5 game weeks, Wolves are by far the top of the sort of fixture difficulty ratings.
Yeah.
So the next 5 game weeks, I know FDR is a little bit subjective, but they're the only team to have the difficulty rating of 2 for the next 5 game weeks.
And make sure you go check out Brett's video if you want to know about this. The fixtures.
Thank you. Yeah, so obviously been looking into that quite a bit, and Wolves fixtures are just sort of mouthwatering really for the next 5 game weeks. So because I haven't brought in Podence, which I'm a little bit sad about because I got Foden now, and time will tell if that was the right call.
Yeah.
But because I won't get Podence now. Jimenez in game week 4 will probably come in. If Martial or Werner disappoint again this week, easy move to Jimenez for game week 4. So Wolves' fixtures are just outstandingly good. And I know Podence does have a bit of rotation risk now with Semedo coming in, Traore pushing up forward, but he's played so well in the first 2 games. And in general, Nuno is quite well known for not switching his squad around that much. Like, I think last season, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but they had the least amount of changes to their 11 during games, or the least amount of subs used, or Nuno sticks to his plan if they're playing well quite a lot. And that was shown last season. So yeah, with Jota not being there now, that helps Podence a little bit. And I'd say he's looked the more dangerous between him and Neto, and therefore a bit more nailed as well, because Neto maybe is the one that gets dropped now and again.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, he's the one to go to at 5.5, 5.6.
And Jay, yourself?
No brainer.
I was going to say, regarding Podence, I think he's fine as long as they don't get Douglas Costa, which is rumoured. If they get him in, then I'd start to worry, because I think it has to be Neto that gets dropped. If they're playing a 3-4-3, I think Podence can play one side, Traore the other of Jimenez, and I think if they're playing a 3-5-2, I think Podence gets that slot over Traore.
Are we not worried about the new striker that they bought though? I
think it will take time for him to come in. I don't think they're going to rush him into it, especially with Podence playing so well. I don't see why you'd rush in a new striker. So I could be wrong, of course, but I just feel confident that at least short-term wise, Podence.
I think what's just made me nervous is the whole Saka thing. I was so confident that he couldn't be dropped on form, and then he was. So now I'm like, is this the same for Podence all over again?
And the thing is, though, the manager has come out and said he wants to play more expansive football. So I'm hoping for more goals from Wolves than normal, which I think at the moment, Podence is the one that's providing that alongside Jimenez. So I'm hopeful. But as far as other enablers, because I just looked at the cheapest players, because if they're going to be on my bench, I want to save as much money as possible. So, and Guisa did come on my radar. Basuma, if he wasn't suspended, would be someone I'd consider. He's had 4 shots on goal. Alzate from Brighton Hove Albion as well, 2 shots on goal, and has also had 3 key passes. And then in defence, I mean, if you haven't got Mitchell, I'd get him in. Other than that, I've taken a bit of a punt on Dunn. I'm hoping something changes in that Burnley defence. I think Tarkowski, he either is injured or they're just saying he's injured because he's going to be making a move soon. And if he is moving, I think 4 million in Burnley defence is a decent shout. And if
Have you got Oliver Burke on your wild card then, Jay? Now, or
yes.
What's your thoughts on him?
The thing is, he has played a game up front, but it's for Sheffield United. I don't really see him scoring many.
I know, but to see him start that game, I was like, I wish I had him now, because I didn't think he would get into to start like that, because they've got so many strikers. So that was quite exciting.
I mean, their strikers don't do much though, so I can't blame him for trying something new. But I'm hopeful with Burke. I just worry that it's not something that will consistently happen. I'm not sure he will always start.
That's ultimately why I went for Basuma in the end, because I thought at least he's a 2-point man every game, rather than with that, because I didn't want to start with Burke and think, if I need a sub and he's not even starting, and Mousse coming back from injury, that kind of thing.
Well, the reason I've gone with Burke is I'm hoping that even if he doesn't start, if he's brought on for like 30 minutes and Sheffield United need a goal, and he's put up front again, he might just get a cheeky assist or goal.
Yeah, he's a midfielder, right?
Yes.
Yeah. A midfielder, 4.5, started up front. He's got a lot of pace. They've got a home game against, I think, Leeds, and a home game against Fulham. 2 home games.
I'd be tempted to start him just in case in those fixtures. Just because the way the defence is been.
Their fixtures do turn, but they got Fulham and Leeds at home in the next 3 game weeks. And look, they went down to 10 men, so maybe he was a bit unlucky. He could have done a bit more with 11. So
good point.
Jay just made us aware about Stevens moving to Burnley. Do you think is an option to have on my bench?
Stevens always just seems so boring to me. Like he's the one I usually put in my first draft as soon as the game's launched, because I'm like, he'll start, but I'm always looking for someone else. So
that's just because he doesn't have an exciting name. You're being harsh.
It's
just boring, isn't it?
He doesn't do much though. Like, I don't remember watching a Brighton game and thinking, one day he might return some points for me.
Yeah, true.
He's your bog standard, come off the bench, 2 points, 3 points, that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't want to risk it on someone that you would think, I need someone to come in thinking, he's rotating, he's not playing now. Dale Stevens will play it.
I like it more exciting on the bench.
But look at what happened to Ashley Westwood. He became that sort of a bit boring, just stick him on the bench, and he ended up coming 5.5. How was Ashley Westwood 5.5 million?
Ashley Westwood is better than Dale Stevens.
Just a bit of sort of breaking news in the chat here from Shashank. I don't know about this myself, but apparently De Bruyne has got a head injury in the cup tonight.
No way.
He played in the cup? Why did they play in the cup?
He came off the bench about 60 minutes in. He came off the bench.
Oh, hello.
Don't know how serious the injury is, but that's another.
Mate.
I brought him in for a -4 now, so
ruined my Friday.
Oh my god,
Thursday.
that's not good
He
on
was
a wild
literally.
card.
I think one of the questions was, "Who's your pick?"
Yeah, the next one. The next question is literally, who do you think is essential in
It was KDB. I don't know now.
Okay, so let's ask that question from
I've got to think of a
RP.
new answer.
I'll go first. Salah. Make sure you have Salah in your teams. It might well have been KDB, but I think for me, Salah, just based on ownership and knowing what he can do. I know he didn't have a great game last week, but he can be pretty explosive. And, if you're just not on him when he goes big, it can really hurt your team. But that's me personally. Glenn, you don't have Salah. You don't have any Liverpool at the moment, do you?
I have Mane.
Mane, sorry, yeah. Who do you think is essential in our teams?
When Salah scored that hat-trick in game week 1 and Mane didn't have a return, I was very worried. I was actually considering switching them because of those penalties and stuff.
Yeah. No, it was the Mane show this week. You were good.
It was a relief. It was a relief. So
caught you up.
I think De Bruyne has to be there. Head injury or not, I think he has to be there. I agree with what you people have said. Like yesterday on Monday against Wolves, the way he was getting himself into very, very, very good positions, he's taking penalties. I think he has to be up there. Of course, Salah has to be up there. And Fernandes, man, I just think Manu gets a bunch of more penalties again, and he'll take them all and he'll score them all. So I go De Bruyne first, and then Salah second, and then Fernandes third, even though I don't own any of them. So looks like I have to play a wildcard soon.
Okay. So Jay, have you thought about
Yes,
now?
I have.
Go
Thank
on,
you,
buddy.
Davey FPL, for saving me. Because apparently De Bruyne's just won a header, so guessing he's all right.
Oh, right, okay then. Fair enough.
So Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay then, cool. Kurt, essential?
Dale Stevens. No, essential for me. De Bruyne, Son, Salah. I think you've got to have big midfield this year, and I'd say those three are essential. I'd be surprised if they move out of my team, but for now they're essential.
And Brett, anybody different, buddy?
No, not really. It's always this argument about is essential a thing, but I do expect Trent to come good now. Now that Chelsea, they got.
Now that I've sold him, yeah.
Oh, you're going without Trent. Interesting.
I think I've preached enough that Robertson's going to do better this season, so I thought it was about time that I ought to eat my own words.
Yeah, I don't want that. I mean, when I talk about Trent, I kind of mean Robertson at the same time. Like they're both as good as each other, It's a bit like Mane and Salah. Like Salah got the hat trick. You think, oh my God, I need Salah, and then Mane gets 16 points.
Yeah, true.
So, they do even out, and Robertson's looked really lively. But yeah, the fixtures now, I'm granted Arsenal at home, a bit of a tricky one. Aubameyang could score there. But longer term, until like game week 19, Liverpool's fixtures do look very nice. They have a string of good games. So I expect the defence to really come through over the long term for sure. So yeah, Trent for me and Robbo should do well.
Okay, so at mctavious says, apparently my kit question last week wasn't FPL enough. So should we be a bit more serious? Anyone bringing in any Palace players then? Kurt, would you like to go first on this one?
At the moment, I did say it'd be a pointless transfer, but Wilfried Zaha's looks as if he's in the form of his life.
He's changed his mind. He's done a U-turn.
Well, it's only because earlier this morning, before I went to work, I was just looking around thinking who could be an option. And I just clicked on a Palace player and I saw their fixtures, and it's just the amount of green on there coming up.
I know, it's crazy.
Take out Chelsea away.
Yeah.
There's so much green. And I think Zaha's performed against a tough game home to Southampton and a tough game away to Man United. But he potentially get even better against teams that are worse. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, though, I do think Palace are still a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. I think Man United, always it's nice to see big clubs doing charity work with loads of different charities and everything, and it's nice to see they helped the bumbling old man get a 3-point victory at Old Trafford. Bless him. Roy Hodgson just looks like he doesn't even know what's going on half the time. Looking around thinking, this ain't the bus stop. I don't know where I am. And he's close to retirement. He's done his time, but
I swear this happens every season though, because we always write off Palace and Hodgson. And at the start,
I don't think
season,
I did write off Palace. I think you guys wrote off Palace. You guys put him in the bottom 4. I did not.
Well, put it this way: I've never seen a team. I think what Brett's getting at. I've never seen a team like Palace end so many seasons so horrifically, but they're saved just because of the fact they start strong. That's the problem. Well, problem for me at least, pushing them down. But no, at the moment, the only one I'd consider is Zaha. He's 7.1. He has gone up, but it's just the green. He started well. It's just the green. If there was a bit of red there, I'd say no, but it's just the green.
Somebody has to clip Kurt just going, it's just the green.
It's just the green.
It's just the green. So, yeah. Oh, you messed everything up.
No, I meant to do this. Green. It's just the green.
Bear with us a moment, people.
Keep talking.
Okay.
I actually messed something up.
Yeah, you switched the cameras around.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Because you were at the top of my screen and now Jay, so I know he must have the same thing. So
sorry.
For me, if you're watching the Dream stream earlier, I get a choice and the guest gets a choice. My choice for this game week was Zaha. I do have a bit of a gut feeling. No, I haven't had a dream on Zaha, but thank you, Dave, for pointing out the Newcastle dream there that I had with the 7-0. Yeah, I'd scare myself sometimes on these dreams. And the lads always get me to text them, so that's why you always have a note of what happens in my dreams, because they get to know first, being my Wildcats. So no, I didn't dream about Zaha, but it is a bit of a gut feeling that he will do well. And I do have a team that's nicely balanced in midfield where I might have a bit of a headache every week in like who to play. But it would have involved Rodriguez in that fifth midfielder spot at 7.5, believe it or not. But with the price rises not going the way they have, like literally everyone in my team has gone up 0.1 since I did my wildcard, but nobody seems to be going that extra 0.1. And with Werner also not dropping, it just doesn't look as if I'm going to get the 0.3 that I need to get up to Rodriguez there if I want to go down this road. So my option then is to switch that position. My second choice there would be Zaha, and I'm seriously considering it, although Son is like, making me kind of question whether or not I want to go, because I can't fit him into that formation that I'm thinking of. But he's the only one that's making me reconsider. But Zaha is definitely my thoughts. Love Ayu from Poppin' Podding days, and Mitchell. But is there anyone else really to mention, guys, from Palace? Anyone else thinking about anyone else, or should we just move on?
We've talked about Palace far too much for one stream.
I'm considering Townsend now. For Townsend, I've owned him in every single season. He has an ownership of less than 2%, and he's on set pieces, free kicks, corners. He can score a screamer once a while, like when Benteke and Batshuayi are back in the team, like those crosses. And I have to agree with Kat, like those fixtures, even that Chelsea away game, he can still get a goal, Zaha, a goal or two. I had Ayew in game week 1, and I took him out for Mitrovic. And he actually scared me away to Man United. Like I was actually thinking Ayew would get some goals when he took that penalty. But another one, of course, Mitchell in defense, and then Guaita. I might be forced to drop McCarthy for Guaita. I've noticed most of us here have McCarthy, but I'm thinking Guaita too. But the thing with Palace is they perform against the big teams, away to City, away to United, and then when they face like a West Brom at home, they lose 1-0. So it's typical Crystal Palace. So Townsend's maybe.
Yeah, Guaita's a quality keeper as well. He always has a little spell in FPL where he really racks up the points as well. So he, over those next, 10, 12 game weeks, he could do really well.
Agreed. I can't argue with that at all. There's a definite little shout there. I noticed that you loved your time there as FPL TV for a little bit there, Glenn. Enjoyed
I was great for a couple of minutes.
It was good. It was good. Those 100,000 subscribers looking good.
Was I Glenn? Was I Glenn for a bit? So.
I'm not sure actually, but I'm pretty sure that Kurt just missed Jay's concentration face because we haven't seen it for a while. So he thought, what?
I'm going to mess it up with him. He made me stream a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to get him back.
I'm going to get him back. So everyone who's here has been privileged to the Jay concentration phase. Please do make sure you smash that like button. Thank you very much. Okay, the at Shashank Patel on Insta asks, this is quite a long one. DCL's 4 goals have come from within the box, 2 from the 6-yard box, playing against teams who have conceded 10 shots in the box on average. Everton's midfield had admittedly improved by leaps and bounds this season, but has DCL really turned a corner, or is it false dawn where he regresses to the mean as the season draws on? So I think that's a long way of saying, do we trust DCL long term? So, Glenn, thoughts on DCL, please, buddy?
Yeah, another player who I'm very scared not to own. Like the way he played against West Brom and the other team. I don't remember the other team, but for me, I prefer the eye test more than the stats. Every time you watch an Everton game, like he gets so many chances, so many great positions, as you've mentioned, inside the box, so many great positions. Plus now with Rodriguez bringing the ball, Digne on the left bringing the ball, Coleman with some crosses, he's very good at headers. Crystal Palace away, sometimes poor defending. Crystal Palace are awful at home, like for the last 2 years. So I can see him adding to his account again. So I was quite lucky to unlucky. I don't know, because I was supposed to bring him on last week, but ended up with Mitrovic. So for me, yeah, definitely Calvert-Lewin up there with the top 4 strikers to own this season, at least for the next 10 fixtures.
Cool. And you, Brett? Do you have Calvert-Lewin at the moment?
I don't know. It's just mad how he's like all of a sudden like a must own. At the end of last season, I was like,
oh, you and Calvert-Lewin.
I'm never going near Calvert-Lewin again. And I was watching the games as well. And look, the problem is you shouldn't go into a new season with like, just because you've had a bad experience with a player doesn't mean they can not be good the next season. And like, because I was so like, right, I'm not going near Calvert-Lewin because if I'm honest, I don't actually rate him that much. I don't rate him as a footballer personally.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
But I didn't consider the players playing around him. And at the back end of last season, he's playing with like Walcott, who's finished, and now he's playing with like, Rodriguez, Alan, Decore behind him, Digne with his amazing crosses. There's Richarlison's like on fire now. He's playing so well because of the midfield that they've got behind them.
Richarlison.
That's what I didn't consider. I think sometimes you need to think who's playing around the striker, because I was like, I'm not touching Calvert-Lewin. I'm not going to go near him, but he's got a much better team around him now.
Ew, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, and like Glenn said, like he was getting a lot of chances. Like his hat trick were, in my opinion, all 3 tap-ins. Really, a couple of close headers, a little back heel, not bad goals, but quite easy goals. But if he's going to get in those positions, and Digne's going to put those balls in, and James Rodriguez, who's got like the second amount of chances created in the league so far behind him, then he's only going to benefit from that really. And the fixtures are good too. So of course I would like him to regress because I'm not going to get him in at the moment. And I'm still struggling to believe that he is the must own that he's looking like. So my gut's saying like, is Calvert-Lewin like, he's not gonna like be a boss, but yeah.
Jay says on the other hand, Calvert-Lewin is a boss.
He's done well for me so far.
Yeah, people were starting the season with him, and I'm like, good luck with that. I'm not going either.
Seems like the name is more fancy for Jay. Stevens is boring, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yes, exactly.
It's double barrel.
Exactly.
Double barrel.
Get it. Bring that
so we've worked it out. We've worked it.
I just like nice names. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
I think we are discrediting him a little bit. I agree. He's not the best finisher in the world as far as a striker is concerned. There's a lot better finishers in the league, but he gets in the right positions, and it seems like under Ancelotti, he's doing that more and more frequently.
He's such a workhorse as well, you know. So you're always going to see him running, and going for it. Like, you're not going to see a lethargic performance from him.
Exactly.
So at least as an FPL owner, you haven't got to get annoyed by that.
If you look at the goals they've scored,
that's it. It'll be injured in the first 10 minutes.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But if you look at the actual goals he scored, there's certain qualities to those goals that remind me of the way a lot of Man City's goals go in, or Liverpool's goals go in. They're not difficult goals to score. Now, yes, your likes of Salah, Sterling, De Bruyne are all capable of scoring worldies, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't. But if Everton keep creating chances where, say, Richarlison gets the ball from Rodriguez and just has to pass it into the box for Calvert-Lewin to tap in, if that happens frequently enough, he's going to get a lot of goals. Even I could score some of those goals. If I was stood in the box and the ball dropped to me, I could probably backheel it into the net if I was in the right place, but I probably wouldn't be in the right place. So
that sounds like a video for when COVID goes away. All right, then, put it to the test. Let's see you backheel this in. Whipping crosses into you.
It didn't whip into it, it bounced to him, and he just happened to be there and he backheeled it. So it wasn't hard to finish, but he was in the right place. And I think that's what he seems to be working on, and it seems to be paying dividends for him. So I think it will regress, because his expected goals is at 1.84, and he scored 4.
It was West Brom with 10 men.
That's
as well.
Definitely boosted.
That's the only bit of perspective that we do need, is that it's 10 men West Brom.
I think you're looking at a striker that will most likely score 1 goal a game or none, most of the time. Not someone that will regularly score hat-tricks.
Now I feel thoroughly depressed that I've just wildcarded him. Thanks for that. Kurt, anything to add to Calvert-Lewin discussion before we move on?
Yeah, I'm similar to Brett. I just think, I've seen him before. He's looked bang average. He just seems to get the rub of the green. I think he's a sort of player that probably would have ended up going to the Championship if Everton had signed a sort of Rodriguez style player up front when he was starting to come up. I think he's just been fortunate that Everton have had a really poor selection of forwards, and to be fair to him, he's reaping the rewards of it. He's playing well, but I just think when all comes to it, if they were to sign a better striker, I think he'd be dropped. But yeah, I'm not going near him. Good form and all that, but I've never really liked him. And I think you look at it, it's just you get him at the right time, you're singing his praises, you get him at the wrong time, and you think he's a fraud. He's one of those players.
I don't like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Inzaghi. I can't believe.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Inzaghi.
Who's the British Pele before. He's doing it again. I'll bring him in. He'll be bloody Barry from
Ancelotti has said he just needs him to touch it once and put it in the net. That's
as
all
long
Ancelotti needs.
Brett stays away from him, he'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. As long as
Brett
Brett stays away from Wilson and Calvert-Lewin, they'll be fine.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, I jumped off Wilson. I got some points on him in Game of 1 and thought, I'm not risking this. See you later, Wilson.
Wilson, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Well, I have faith in Calvert-Lewin. I guess I have to. I've got him in on my wildcard, so I'm hoping he'll be all right. We'll see what happens, I guess. Okay, then, Brett, shall we head over to the chat? And how are we doing this? Are we going straight into quickfire? Or do you want to do a couple of longer ones and then a couple of quick fires?
Let's do a couple of little discussions first, and then we'll go to quick fire for maybe the shorter ones. Just quickly as well, Sonny Forsberg commented saying there's not been any draws yet in the league. I didn't realise that.
Wow.
That's mad. Right, okay, so Mark Bain says, good evening. He saw that JNO has picked Martinez on his wild card. He's wondering why he thinks Matt Ryan is not a better option. And which of these two keepers would the rest of the panel pick and why? So it's basically a toss-up between Martinez or Matt Ryan. And Jay, do you want to start on why you're picking him over Ryan?
Well, a lot of it is to do with how he performed for Arsenal at the end of last season. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. I think he's better than Ryan. I also think potentially Aston Villa had to be good defensively at the end of last season, and maybe they'll learn from that. And there's a chance that they're a bit more defensively solid. I think they've improved their side a lot better this transfer window than they did last. And I think with Brighton, I think they're trying to play a certain way, and I think that will leave them open to conceding goals. I like Ryan, I've had him before, but I just think Martinez is the better pick at the moment. Yeah. But that's a gut feeling, because he's literally played one game, and yes, it was a great game, but it wasn't exactly against the hardest team to play. And he got a penalty save. So it's definitely possible Ryan's a better pick, but I just think Martinez is a better goalkeeper, and I think that will improve Aston Villa's defence.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else got any thoughts on that? Martinez and over Ryan?
Yeah. I've been quite vocal on the fact that I don't think we should have sold him personally. I think he was our number one goalkeeper. I know we bought Leno more expensive, all of that malarkey, but given what he done for us at the end of last season, as Jay said, he was spectacular. I mean, against those top six sides as well, some of the saves he made in those matches. I mean, it shouldn't really be about money, it should be about form, and he has been dead in form for Arsenal. So if he can apply even a fraction of that at Aston Villa, then at that 4.5 million price tag, I just couldn't look past him on my wild card, to be honest, especially with those Aston Villa fixtures. So
and the save points as well.
I know.
Yeah, I don't
know
dream.
How much. It's the dream. We just got to hope now.
I don't know how much the kicking and all that helps in terms of bonus points, but he has learned that from Arteta. Of course, speaking because he's a former Arsenal player and I still have a soft spot for him. He can save penalties, as we saw last week. But also the thing, Brighton, as Ajay has said, Brighton are not really a defensive team these days after Chris Hughton left. Yeah. They're more attacking team. Feel. Yeah, and Aston Villa, they feel like Aston Villa, if they're going to survive the league, they have to defend. So I feel like they'll have some clean sheets too. And I'm going to put that out there. He's going to get an assist for Jay in the next few weeks. He's actually going to get an assist.
And me. What about me?
Well, you'll get
It's
it
in
as
my
well,
team
don't
too. Thank you, Glenn. I like this. Appreciate that.
Okay, that's me putting bets on a Martinez assist.
Just really quickly, I do agree. Only the one thing that hasn't been mentioned is that Villa will have a double game week coming up as well. So you will get an extra game from Martinez. I mean, it'll be like later into the season, like game week 14, or check Ben Krellin, the double game week guru. But there's an extra game there, and I quite like Villa's fixtures over the longer term. There's a patch there between like game week 6 to 16 where it looks quite nice. And Brighton, they don't really have a long spell of good fixtures until very late into the season, probably by the time we've used our second wild card. So like Glenn said, I don't look at Brighton as a defensive team anymore. And believe it or not, even though Villa were pretty woeful defensively last season, their home form defensively was actually not too bad. They actually got quite a few clean sheets there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, more than I haven't got it on my screen now, but more than we realised. They actually did okay at home. So, and we talk about players in form, but not often goalkeepers. But Martinez is in form. So
I think if he had gone like Aston Villa, when he was touted initially the first time around, then I would have started the season with him without a doubt. So I think for me on a wild card, now that I can buy him and knowing that he will play barring injuries, it just felt like without a doubt, even before he did well the other night, it was already kind of nailed in my head that he was going to be my 4.5 keeper going forward. So yeah.
Cool. All right, Kurt, did I interrupt you before? Were you going to say something on this? Or
I was going to say I'm not putting a bet on him getting an assist until Nim dreams it. And nothing important.
That's very sensible, my friend. Very, very sensible.
She doesn't dream everything.
I'm feeling
Stuff can happen without a dream.
Yeah, but when she does dream it, it's correct. So I don't know it's correct until it's been dreamed. So
the thing is, you guys are going to start sedating me soon to get these dreams.
Inception, like on Inception. Dream within a dream, or go inside and sleep.
Yeah, I'll just have to work out some type of meditation or something. Cool. What's our next question then, Brett?
Okay, so there's a question from Harshal. He wants to talk about Jimenez or Jesus, obviously with Aguero out. So should we have a little talk about like Jesus and if we think he's a viable option? Are we excited about him, with Aguero out? Or should you just go for Jimenez? Glenn, what do you think about Jesus as an option?
I think he's also a must-own right now without Aguero. And if they don't buy any striker, they might buy a striker maybe. But for him, without all those attacking... which I don't know. I'm not sure in what fixtures they have.
So they've got Leicester at home. Leicester at home, Leeds away, and then they've got maybe Arsenal at home, and then West Ham away.
He'll definitely not score in the Arsenal game, hopefully. But for the rest of the games, he was rested today against in the Carabao Cup match. So I can see him scoring a bunch of goals, more than Jimenez. Jimenez is also a good option, but for now, I think I'd go with Jesus, definitely. I want to own him. If I was to play a wildcard today, I'd put him in.
Interesting. Okay. Anyone else with any thoughts on Jesus? I mean, you guys are on a wildcard. Has he ever come into your thinking?
So I had this question actually early in the chat on my stream, and I think the quickest way to sum it up really is that Jimenez is Mr. Consistent. He'll trickle the points most weeks, whereas Jesus is more likely to be like explosive and all share the points with the other players in his team some weeks, so might not get you any points. For me, I'm keeping Werner almost 100% on my wild card, and so it gives me another look at likes of Jesus and Martial in that price bracket, of which I could switch to after the West Brom fixture. Of course, if Werner goes really big at that West Brom fixture, I might have to reconsider, but then I do have to also think it is West Brom. So it's unless I really see something from Chelsea that makes me think, he's going to be worth keeping going forward. But that is the main reason for me in keeping Werner on the wildcard, is that he can then literally become anyone. I'm still not sure on whether to go Jimenez or Ings up front. Because at the moment I've got DCL, Mitrovic and Werner. Obviously going up that bit extra to a Jimenez or an Ings is a little bit difficult. It takes away from the midfield. So I'm not entirely sure yet if I'm gonna go there, but I think for me Jimenez is Mr. Consistent and Jesus is kind of explosive. They're kind of, that's how I'd kind of describe it. I'm not too sure one or the other is going to be better. I can definitely see what Glen's saying. Without Aguero, Jesus is pretty much nailed, I would have thought, although it is Pep and there's always a caveat with him. You'd never actually know. I guess he could stick Sterling up front again if he wanted to.
Nathan Ake as a strike.
Yeah, exactly. So considering, I guess, but I think that's why I'm leaving Werner where he is, because then there's always the option.
Cool. Kurt, I mean, you've already used your wild card now, but was Jesus ever a consideration?
Yes. I mean, that's always the point I've argued when people say Aguero. The first point I say is that when you look at the minutes of the last few seasons, they share them. Well, I wasn't going to mention any names, but Miss Nymphrya clearly is blinded by her love and affection towards Aguero whenever she suggests Aguero.
Amen.
If Aguero was playing 100% of the time and Jesus was coming on the bench or being put out wide and Aguero's been preferred, Jesus Christ, Aguero would be averaging about 40 goals a season, but he's not. But in terms of Jesus,
I want Aguero to come back and get that golden boot so bad, just so I can rub it in your face now.
I'd say, considering whilst Aguero's out, I'm not clued up on things. I try to keep myself off that sort of thing. I don't know if Aguero's got a long-term injury or if he's injured for the next 4 weeks. If he is something like that, then it becomes a no-brainer, really, if you need a new striker.
Jay, lastly, I mean, you're on your wild card too. Any love for Jesus at all?
I want him in, but it's
Do
just...
you really? Wow, I'm surprised at all the love Jesus is getting here. This is different to what I was thinking. Interesting.
I'm sorry, he's leading the line at Manchester City.
Yeah.
With all the players behind him, there's going to be goals for him. I still think Jimenez is a good shout as well.
Yeah.
It's just a struggle of trying to fit all these strikers in. Because I think there's actually quite a lot of value in the strikers because they've dropped the prices.
Yeah.
So if Dominic Calvert-Lewin had done nothing these first 2 game weeks, my decision would be a lot easier. But I still think Martial could do something. You've got Werner, who I can't really drop with West Brom next.
I know.
And then Jesus, Jimenez, Ings. Like, there's so many players I've looked at.
Ings has got West Brom at home in Game Week 4 as well.
Yeah.
I know. And we haven't even talked about Bamford against that Sheffield United side who did not look, great, conceding 3 goals over 2 games already.
I could be completely wrong, but I think Leeds will either start creating more chances and keep scoring this way, or they're going to regress.
I know, but at 5.6 is he? I mean, it's not. It's
too
not
much if I'm going to bench him. Just a little bit too much if I'm going to bench him.
Would you bench him straight away, though, on his form, or would you give him a couple of more weeks? That's the thing. I'm
not confident enough to bring him in. I really think those 2 games don't make... I don't look at him and think he's going to score lots of goals this season. I look at him and think, okay, he's done very well with the chances.
Bamford bus is leaving from the station, Jay, and he's not on it.
Well, the thing is, there were buses last season that I got on too late. So I'll probably already missed the bus with Bamford.
A pookie party all over again.
I might as well just ignore Bamford. And...
From all the Leeds fans I know and I have on Twitter and Facebook, I've never seen a striker that is universally not disliked, but sort of if they're playing FPL, be like, oh, what players are you thinking about? Well, not Bamford. I work with a Leeds fan. I know Leeds fans. I follow Leeds fans on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. None of them seem confident in their own striker. So that must be, and then they watch the team week in, week out. They've watched them in Championship. And also, Bamford in the Premier League, when he's been in there before, has been useless. So I think he's a riding a wave a bit. Leeds will get sussed out. Maybe Bamford will get sussed out and then back down to being a pants Premier League striker, but a very good Championship one, personally.
Okay. Right then, Brett, should we do some quick fire, lovely?
Yeah, just really quickly. I'm going to just stir the pot a bit because for me,
Okay.
before I asked you
Oh,
guys,
sorry,
I thought that was a no-brainer. I would go Jimenez over Jesus personally. Fixtures, £1 million cheaper on penalties. And yeah, controversially, I don't rate Jesus that much. I think he's a bit of a tap-in merchant, but yeah, there you go. There's a bit more.
There's nothing wrong with a tap-in.
I don't think
you
I
get lots
didn't.
of tap-ins,
I don't think I said there was anything wrong with Jimenez. I just said one was.
Oh no, I definitely think Jimenez would do well.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're saying you were wrong. It's just you were all quite keen on hate.
Well, the thing is,
positive on Jesus too.
Yeah.
The thing is, if Wolves start playing more expansive, and that creates more chances for Jimenez could turn from that Mr. Consistent to someone that gets hauls. So that's something I do think you have to watch.
Yeah.
I'm interested in people's thoughts on Mitrovic as well. Because he still has West Brom to come, albeit in a couple of weeks, but anybody?
I own him. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to bring him in. It was supposed to be Calvert-Lewin for, as I said, for Ings, but I couldn't get the money, so I just switched Ayew and Mitrovic. And he's the only guy who can score for them. Literally, like there's no one else who can score. He's on penalties, great from headers, tap-ins. He also had a couple of chances in that Leeds game. It would have been a hat trick or 4 goals or something. So
I'm a bit annoyed myself that I didn't start the season with him because I have a bit of like a kind of fond memory of him from the season before last when he was in the Prem, and he did well for me then. So I was like literally all of my drafts had him in until like I think the last week, and then I started to go 2 up top, and every time I went 2 up top he just got dropped. So yeah, but you considering on your wild cards at all, Jay Mitro?
No.
Okay, fair enough. And Kurt, you got him? No. And Brett, you've got him, haven't you?
I have. And look, I was delighted to get 12 points from him. But watching that game, I felt lucky to get 12 points from Mitrovic.
Leeds gave him the goals.
I was so unimpressed with Fulham when they were getting before Mitro scored the penalty. Because that was his first goal. I was thinking, I just don't like this Fulham team at all. Didn't impress me at all. But he got 2 goals. I'm not feeling too confident about longer term, but he's got Villa at home next. And Fulham have got decent fixtures till like game week 9. He's 6 million on penalties. It's a nice budget player, So and he's going to play every game, and he's not like there's a lot to like there. So I think maybe I'm overthinking it. I'll just keep him in for a little bit. And other worries to.
If you were on a wild card now, though, you wouldn't be getting him in.
Nah, I don't think so. Jimenez, Calvert-Lewin, Martial, Werner, Vardy, even.
Jesus.
Nah, Jesus could do really well, to be fair. It's exciting that he's, with Aguero out injured. So. Okay, cool. Should we just do a quick fire then?
Just a couple of quick fires and then we'll get on to Jeff's wrap up.
Awesome. All right. So I'll give us 90 seconds for each one because there's 5 of us. But basically, I'll give us like 5 seconds for someone to jump in if you've got something to say. If everyone goes quiet, I'll just pass it to someone. All right.
Okay.
So if you've got something to say, just say it. But if not, I'll just throw it out to someone. Okay. So One Rovers Vlogs says best 5th midfielder. He's considering Zaha, Pereira at West Brom, Diangana or Klitsch at Leeds. He's on his wild card. So any midfielders there that we like?
Dale, Stevens, Lewis. Giving him a double-barreled name for some reason.
I better bring him in now.
Go on, Glenn.
Zaha for me. Like those fixtures, those Crystal Palace fixtures, as with all the greens, as Kat said, I think you have to have Zaha ahead of. I don't trust West Brom's attack, so the likes of Pereira is just a nas. So Zaha for me, 5th midfielder. Yeah.
Ooh, 5th. That's an expensive one.
Any other thoughts, guys? Any disagreements?
Costa,
Klitsch, because he's on penalties.
Klitsch and Costa, they're possible.
Penalties seem like they're going to go up this season, so Leeds are very attacking at the moment. Klitsch might get a few penalties every now and again.
If you want to rewind back We do talk about a couple of 4.5 options a bit earlier on, and they might be helpful. So that if you want to be cheaper on a fifth.
Yeah, I mean, he says it's his fifth midfielder, and he's got Zaha there, so he must have a very packed midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Zaha's more expensive than those, so obviously he's the more appealing option. So it depends what you could do with the extra 1.5 if you didn't have Zaha.
Oh well, if he's already got Zaha in, then
7 million.
7.1 now.
Oh, and look, he took the retaken penalty. Could he be on penalties now? That would really sway me to Zaha with the long-term good fixtures. So, Kurt, you've got 9 seconds. Anything else? You agree with that?
I quite like Zaha. Yeah, I think it's just the green.
Barnes over Zaha. Zaha, as soon as the transfer window's done, will be like, cool, I didn't get a move. I'll start dropping around the pitch again.
Yeah, Barnes is a nice shout at 7-2 for sure with game weeks 4 and 5, definitely. Okay, so next one. Rishi Patel says, question. He's playing in front three, Jesus, Jimenez, and Werner. Oh, it's a long question. Mid is Salah, KDB, Podence, Costa. Is there too much money up front? So he's got Jesus, Jimenez, Werner. Would you move funds from one of the front three and use those funds to improve Costa or Podence? Because he's got two 5.5 midfielders, basically, to accommodate Jesus, Jimenez, and Werner up front. So what do we think? Is that too much up front or not?
I don't think so at the moment. There's a lot of quality in the cheaper midfielders, isn't there, at the moment? So not necessarily. I think you can always take money away from the forward and invest it back in midfield if you need to. But I don't know what the other guys think on that.
Well,
I'm thinking of going.
Go on, Glenn.
I'm thinking of going the same route of investing in attack and midfield rather than defense, and also I just go with that. I'd go with I expect Jesus to score. I expect Werner to score this weekend. All of them, in fact. So I'd stick with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think with those front three, you can give them 2 game weeks, and then look, if it doesn't pay off and one of them lets you down, you've got 2 free transfers. You can take one of them down to a cheap forward and bring in a better midfielder if Son carries on doing well or something like that. So, over 2 game weeks they should do well. But if any of them lets you down, you can swap them with 2 free transfers. Jay or Kurt, any other thoughts on those? Would you rather a better midfielder than the 2 5.5s?
Better midfield, personally.
If you drop to Calvert-Lewin, you could then improve one of those to, say, a Barnes or someone like that, or a Zaha. So it's all about which players you think are going to do well. If you really think you need a Barnes or a Zaha, then there's a striker there that you could drop down to. But if you're going to drop down even further, then you are looking at the likes of Son. So I'd say there's no right or wrong answer. It's about who do you think is going to score the most points over the next couple of game weeks. Yeah, that's true. I just happen to think that is a very good front three, and it could get the job done for you.
That's true, mate. If it's not so much about are you going too heavy up top. If you think they're going to score more points ultimately than the players that you could put in midfield.
Sometimes people put too much emphasis on how much a player is as to what their returns will be.
Yeah. Are they the best options? If you forgot the prices.
Yeah, if everyone was the same price, we wouldn't even it'd be very different to see how people's teams looked, for sure. We wouldn't really be going, oh, this person's this expensive, so we'll have to have them in our team, etc. So I think just go with what your gut is telling you to go with.
Cool. Okay, so the next one, it's a bit of a 50-50 really, so we'll just quickly run through. So Strapped World wants to know Jimenez and Havertz or Werner and Calvert-Lewin as a pair. So should we just go through quickly? So Jay, between those, it's tough. It's tough when it's got two.
What are the options again? Sorry.
Jimenez and Havertz, or Werner and Calvert-Lewin.
Werner and Calvert-Lewin at the moment.
Kurt.
Werner and Calvert-Lewin, I have to say.
Glenn.
Yeah, I go with the same. I really don't. I know I said Werner before, but I don't really trust the midfield, the likes of Havertz yet.
Yeah, I agree. Nim?
Yeah, I'm same. Yep, Werner and Calvert for me. I think they're both in my wild card at the moment, and I can't see that changing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a strange question because he's got Werner and Calvert-Lewin are both strikers, and but maybe it's just because he's
a bit like me. He might switch maybe depending on the form. Yeah,
I really like the Jimenez pick. It's just I know Havertz did well in the cup. He got like a hat trick, didn't he? But he still hasn't passed the eye test for me. That's the only. Looks a bit.
I saw some of that game and he looked good, but I was watching it and he looked good partnering with Abraham, but it was also against. Who was it against again? Barnsley?
Barnsley, I think, yeah.
And I'm just like, well, that's going to be a defence that they should be scoring against.
Yeah, I would wait. I'd be more inclined to wait and see with Havertz just to see if he can produce that in the league first. West Brom's his audition, really. If he can do well against them, then great. Okay, cool. So next one. Right, so Patrick Floor wants to know, is Van der Beek going to replace which he claims, the very lazy, clumsy Pogba and become a United starter?
Does he like Pogba?
I mean, I know we're not the manager, but do we have any thoughts on Van der Beek? Do we know much about him, and can he, become a starter at United?
Yeah, I think at Ajax, he was getting himself in the box so much. And I noticed that against it was Palace, Fernandes is playing much behind him, and Van der Beek has taken the box-to-box midfielder term. So for me, is a good option. I think Pogba could actually drop out in terms of Van der Beek, or Van der Beek can come in for either Pogba or Greenwood. So that's why I also said I don't trust Greenwood. So yeah, Van der Beek is an option. He scores goals.
Awesome. Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know much about him, to be fair. I mean, any of us got any more thoughts on him?
From what I understand, he can't do the role Matic does. Or at least he could, but probably wouldn't do it to the same level as Matic. So I'd imagine he's coming in, if he is playing, for the likes of Pogba. Now, he has, from what I looked up on him, he can play out wide, but it's not his preferred position. And I doubt you're going to put him out there compared to the likes of Greenwood and Rashford, if they're both fit. So the two positions he could play is either more advanced, and then maybe Bruno Fernandes drops back, or he takes up Pogba's role. That's the two options I see. And he impressed in his first game. We'll see what happens with Pogba, but you'd have to wait. I can't call it right now, but that's where I'd imagine he'd play, is either in Pogba's position or right behind the striker.
I think my concern is that Oli doesn't really know yet where they all fit in. So, or at least, with that Pogba, Matic, Van der Beek thing. So I'm not entirely sure you could get him in and know that he was definitely starting every week.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't bring him in yet. He's someone you'd have to wait and see.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm a bit worried if they're asking, then they might be considering him as an option, and I wouldn't want to say, go for it when we don't really know yet, do we? So
that's the thing. I think in FPL terms, there's too much uncertainty, I suppose, isn't there? So maybe it's not the right player to be looking at now at that 7 million price I think he's around. So there's a lot more.
That's the same reason why I don't have Bruno Fernandes right now, because I don't know how this will affect him.
Yeah.
So I'm more confident in Martial's not going to get moved for Van der Beek. I doubt Rashford will get moved for Van der Beek. So they just feel like safer options for now.
Yeah. But like Glenn said, it's interesting to see that he gets in the box a lot. So I'm definitely watching him closely.
He did that a lot at Ajax.
Yeah.
He's very good at late runs into the box.
Yeah, one for the watch list then for sure. Okay, another quick 50-50 then. So Arafat Safin says Salah and Mitro or Sterling and Calvert-Lewin. He's already got De Bruyne. So Salah and Mitro or Sterling and Calvert-Lewin. Start with you first, Nim, this time. Go around the other way.
Salah and Mitro, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not massive on the whole City double up thing. I know that they can be brilliant, but my concern is that they can also share the points as well. And it's a lot of money tied up in two players from the same team, if they have a bad game week or something like that. So I absolutely get the draw for it. I've even considered it myself. But I think, I'd probably sway towards that. Again, really, nervously on the ownership as well. That always kind of has a thing for me this early in the season. So, yeah.
Well, Glenn, Salah, Mitro or Sterling, DCL?
Salah, Mitro, they're both on penalties. Salah is more explosive, and I think Salah and Mitrovic, 90 minutes every game. The others, you're not quite sure. So
Yeah, it's a
Salah
really
and
good point.
Mitrovic.
Both of those are on pens, and Sterling, Calvert-Lewin aren't. So that is a good point, as far as we know with Everton anyway. Kurt, Salah, Mitro, Sterling, Calvert-Lewin.
Is muted.
Don't know how I do that so many times. The risk taker in me, I would say, would have to be the Sterling option, but the safe option is Salah.
Yeah. Jay?
Especially with KDB in your side already, I'd have to go Salah and Mitrovic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Liverpool's fixtures now until game week 19 are so good. I'm just not going to bother messing around with Salah, I don't think. You know, just leave him there for the first half of the season, I think.
Okay.
Obviously, if Sterling bangs a hat-trick, then you get swayed, you know. But
yeah. One more then, bud.
Cool, okay. Right, we talked about Havertz, so missed that one. Okay, so Shashank, we've already talked about Havertz a little bit, so sorry, we're gonna miss your one. Maybe we'll get it on Twitter or something. So we'll go with English with Gaz. He says, "Thanks for this. One question on his wildcard to finish: Podence or Klitsch?" Very quick one. So, Nim.
Yeah, difficult one. And Klitsch 2 goals and 1 assist so far, I think, and Podence an assist. Is that right? I think so.
2 assists, 1 in
2
each
assists.
game.
Okay.
1 in each game so far.
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered it earlier on. With Klitsch, obviously their fixtures have been quite kind the last 2. It's difficult. I mean, I had a dream with Podence in it, so I feel slightly swayed towards him. Although he scored for Newcastle though, so that could mean that he's about to score an own goal, or it could mean that he's one to get in because he's going to score goals. So you know,
I hope you're right. I've just put $1,500 on him scoring an own goal. So pressure's on.
It could go either way, that one. You know, I got 7-0 right. Can't get everything right. If I could, I'd do the lottery.
That's game week 6. I can't wait till game week 6.
We're pushing for time, Ian. So Glenn, just really quickly.
Podence is not going to nutmeg De Bruyne every single week.
That was fantastic.
I'd go with Klitsch. Like, I feel like Klitsch will score more goals than Wolves. I think they'll get more penalties than Wolves. So Klitsch for me. I'll go for him.
Interesting. Kurt?
Probably Klitsch, because I think long term, I think he's got more chance of starting more games.
Cool. Jay?
Podence, next 5, he's got Fulham and Leeds in it. And yeah, I just think Leeds will regress a little bit on the amount of goals they've scored.
Yeah, I'm going to go Podence just for fixtures. 5 great fixtures. Leeds have got Man City, Wolves, Leicester, Sheffield United away. You know, I know Sheffield United aren't that great, but some tricky ones there. So, I'll go Podence personally.
Oh,
I think the games that are involving Leeds are going to be like 5-3s and 4-2s.
Yeah.
So I think they'll still get goals.
You are right, mate, because I'm looking at fixtures and, you know, you could look at away to Liverpool and think, oh, bad fixture, but they still scored 3 there. So it's a completely valid point for sure.
Yeah. I think like the way everything is set up at the moment and the no crowds and stuff, it's making the games really open, isn't it? You know, how many goals was it this week? Like
44.
44. And I can't believe I didn't even get one of them in my team. Not one. That's hilarious.
That's horrible.
That is really.
Could I throw in one question before I go to the next segment?
Yeah, of course.
Egan got a red card last time, so I'm thinking about an Everton defender, and I only have 5 million, so it's Coleman or Michael Keane. Who's a better pick?
Coleman.
Yeah.
Because if Richarlison had won that header instead of it coming off the defender and falling to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he'd have had an assist.
Yeah.
So I think Coleman just offers a lot more going forward. I know Keane scored, but I don't think that's going to happen as often as Coleman getting forward.
I think like Coleman or like a bit like Mitrovic, I have like happy memories of him during the whole Baines Coleman era. It's like it just used to rake me in points. So yeah, I think probably would lean that way as well. But
so Michael Keane it is. Glenn, there you go.
yeah, true.
Pick different from everyone else.
Yes.
Exactly.
Everything else, the Glen Kightley, everything else. No, yes, pick. Go on.
Do that, mate. Because if Keane scores now, I won't feel bad then.
Does it feel a bit like you stepped into the television there, Glenn? A little bit, because you're always there asking us questions every week, and we're grateful for it, buddy. Okay. Jeffers Corner question then at Austin66 UK. Our Jeffers always asks us a non-FPL related question to finish up our stream, and this one's a good one. So guys, FPL Wildcats and Glenn, honorary Wildcat, which national holiday from another country would you like to be able to celebrate in the UK? So shall I go first to let you guys think on this? Because I have seen this.
Just going to Google other holidays.
I think I'm going to go with the Day of the Dead, is it? Because that always looks quite cool with the whole masks and the dancing and the... Yeah, like, I think it just seems like... it does have... I'd look up the proper name, but... yeah, it looks really, really fun. They always like paint. It's Monday the 2nd of November. That is Mexican holiday. And they all wear like the masks, the black and white masks with the colourful faces.
My kids watch a movie on it. I forgot what it's called. But...
Oh yeah, it's an animated movie, isn't it? Yeah. But it always looks quite fun because they like have lots of lanterns and food and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's what mine would probably be. I'll go with that one. So anyone else? Who's next?
I wouldn't really go for a fun holiday. I'd go with cheeky one. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in
nice.
USA. Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Had to get that in.
Well done. Yeah, no, agreed. That's a good one. I like that one. That's very good. Jay, what about you, bud?
It would have to be Carnival from Brazil. Because they all get time off for it. And it'd be nice.
Your tail,
I know we have stuff-ish like that in the UK, but it's not really given as a holiday.
Yeah. Cool. So what about you then, Kurt?
I don't know any others apart from Independence Day, and I refuse to celebrate that. That's the day Americans ran away from home. So,
what about the Chinese New Year?
When is it? I'm pretty sure actually there's a holiday in Scotland where they get the 2nd of January off every year. So I'll take that just so I can have an extra day to recover from the hangover.
That's very good. Like that. Eat your neeps and tatty. Yeah.
Not because I enjoy it, just simply because I get an extra day off. Drink some whiskey. Yeah, exactly.
About you, Brett? Any there that you...
I don't have much knowledge about these things. I feel quite uncultured now. I would say... I don't know if they have a holiday for this in Japan, but in April, they have like a week or two of the cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
Around April time, where all the cherry blossoms come out and it just looks amazing. I don't know if they have like a sort of bank holiday for that or anything, but that would be awesome. My brother lives in Thailand, and I think like their New Year is called Songkran or something like that. I think like Thai New Year would be pretty cool. Maybe like a full moon party or something like that would be awesome.
Be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of my answers. I think, isn't there like a Spanish like tomato throwing?
Yeah, I was thinking of some of those, the one where the bull chases people down the road and stuff like that. Or I think the Indian one with all the colours and stuff could be quite cool as well, where they throw the spices and you get covered in all the colours. That'd be quite cool as well. Now, loads of options though. But yeah, I feel
definitely not the bull one though. That's cruel.
No, not that one. No. That's just not nice to human beings. And the tomatoes. That's just a waste of tomatoes, isn't it? Yeah. So no harming vegetables on this channel. No.
Don't worry, Bellerin will plant some more trees.
What's eating them
Yes,
doing
it's
then?
true.
If you eat vegetables, you're harming them.
True.
Yeah, but you're not wasting them. You're not wasting
Okay, I'm just saying,
them.
you're still harming them if you bite them.
Yeah, I mean...
This is falling off a tree. Don't eat it.
Yeah, it just fell out the ground. So...
Fell out the ground.
And onto my plate. It wanted me to eat it. Okay, I feel really under pressure about this. It's just a vegetable.
Sorry, that was just meant to be a joke. I'm not judging. I eat vegetables and fruit too.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, then. Well, I just want to say a big thank you to Glenn for joining us. And, I was on his channel last week, so make sure you go check it out. I'm sure Jay will also give him another plug now when he wraps up. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. And I will do just that, pass over to Jay for the specifics.
Yeah, so of course, if you want to check out Glenn, his link is in the description, so go over there and subscribe. Also, do make sure to subscribe to us if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when we're streaming, and also to follow us on Twitter, where we will announce when we're next going live. And make sure you've liked the video if you haven't already. And that is it from us, so thank you guys, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.